Well, if you're a newcomer without much funds or someone who's transitioning from a shelter into your own home, you're likely going to need some furniture. But that's not always so easy to find. Our next guests say this province is seeing a shortage of used furniture, and their organizations are trying to help by offering furniture to people in need for free. Deb Huff is volunteer coordinator at the furniture bank Oyate Tipi. That's on Dufferin Avenue in Winnipeg, and she joins us in studio. Good morning, Deb.
Good morning.
And also joining us over the phone is Gilbert Vielfaure. He's executive director of Centre Flavie in St. Boniface. Hi, Gilbert.
Good morning.
So, Dee, tell us a bit about your group, Oyate Tipi. Who are your clients and what are their needs?
We help individuals that have left domestic assault, domestic violence situations, youth that are aging out of care. We also help newcomers to the city. We help individuals who have been hospitalized for extended periods of time, whose landlords have decided to turf their items out and they've got nothing.
And everyone is referred to you, right?
Yes.
And what kind of groups do that referral?
We have 22 to 24 different partnering agencies that help individuals that are needing the support services that those organizations offer. So those are the folks that come to us.
And you introduced me when we spoke the other day to a new term called furniture poverty. What's that and how big a problem is that in Winnipeg?
Furniture poverty is when you don't have the financial means to buy essentials that you need for your home. It's a term that is relatively new to most people because they don't really understand what that would mean. So when we're dealing with furniture poverty, those are individuals that simply do not have the resources, financial resources to pay for the essentials they need.
And Gilbert, your group offers all kinds of household wares. How big is the demand at Centre Flavie right now for used furniture?
I've been doing this for 19 years. It's pretty consistent. Keep in mind we serve 100 to 150 families every day, and we do give away all kinds of things, including furniture, appliances, clothing, household items, you name it, cars even. So furniture is definitely an important aspect of what we do, and the demand is always high. Our opening hours to the public, and we're open to anybody who calls himself in need. So whether they're coming out of whatever the situation is, immigrants, refugees, students, sometimes seniors on pensions, whatever the case is. I was going to say we're only open 9 to 1 Monday to Friday, and that's because by 1 o'clock, typically we are going to be empty of our goods.
And you guys gave out a lot of furniture last year, right?
Yeah, somewhere I think 2,500 sofas and living room chairs, about 2,300 beds, and close to 10,000 garbage bags of clothing.
And you mentioned a bit about some of the different people who come in, and we've been hearing a lot lately about the growing number of newcomers in Winnipeg, many of whom have very limited resources, especially when they first arrive. How many of your clients are in that situation?
More and more. About a year ago, it was mostly a Ukrainian-dominated clientele. That's definitely shifted over the last year. We've seen more as the group that you're referring to. And we know that the need's authentic because you look at what people select and you just have to sit there for 5 minutes. And when they choose a table and 4 different looking chairs because there's not a set available, people are more interested in sitting down than necessarily being cute in the dining room.
And not everybody asking for help from Centre Flavie is actually from within Winnipeg, right?
Yeah, that's right. We serve. There's no real set boundary to that. The majority are certain from the city, but not so long ago, at least 10% of our clients were coming from northern reserves, in fact.
Wow. So, Deb, what do you think might be driving up the numbers of people coming to Oyate Tipi for help with furniture? Like, is there a connection to the pandemic?
I think there is. A lot of programs were closed down during the pandemic. And as a result, when you're desperate and you don't have those supports, sometimes you're going to turn to more sort of unhealthy choices for coping, and a lot of folks end up with substance abuse addictions and they end up out on the street. They're homeless. Yeah.
And then you mentioned domestic violence too. Did that go up in the pandemic?
It sure did. It really did. With people being in closed spaces and families not having supports outside of the home, it definitely went up.
And another factor, when we speak about some of the shortages of furniture in our city is that some of the big thrift stores, including Salvation Army, have stopped carrying used furniture in large part because of bed bugs.
Yes.
Deb, how big a problem is bed bug infestation, and what are you guys doing about that?
Bed bugs are an epidemic in the city. A lot of people don't realize that. What we do at Oyate is we heat treat everything that comes through. We have two heat trailers with generators, and we heat treat everything. It goes in for about a 4-hour heat treat, and that ensures that we're not giving away things that may be contaminated with bed bugs.
Mm-hmm. And Gilbert, you said Centre Flavie is also getting more calls from people wanting to donate used furniture. But I mean, how hard is it to keep up with that?
Well, we can't. We're running 5 3-ton trucks, and basically the wait time for us on pickups right now is anywhere from 5 to 6 weeks, and that's keeping in mind that we're going to 8 to 10 houses every day. So we're getting more and more people bringing the things to us because they just don't want to wait that long. So it's in our case is a nice problem to have.
Mm-hmm. But even with that increase in calls to donate, it's still hard to keep up with the demand?
Yeah, I mean, the other problem is we have only so much space, and we've just built a new 13,000 square foot building. Having said that, you can only store so much in there given the amount of clients. I'm again saying 400 or 500 clients coming to us every week. That's an exorbitant amount of people.
Yeah, that is a lot. Deb, what would you want people to know? Maybe they're paring down their household and they want to donate used goods. What would you want them to keep in mind?
Remember that just because it's old to you doesn't mean it's going to be old to somebody who has nothing. So if you have an old sofa or something that you no longer want in your home, if you're renovating or redecorating, we will take that. There's somebody out there who needs that item.
Mm-hmm. I know you touched on sheets and towels and things, but what about for the bigger items? Are people, able to bring that in? Or are they expecting you to do it?
We do offer free drop-off. Obviously, they can come from 8:30 to 4:30 to our Dufferin location, and we will be able to offload. If they need it picked up, we do have a pickup service available for a fee.
Okay. And just in the last 20 seconds, Gilbert, you mentioned seeing some families living without the basics. Tell us about maybe one of the underfurnished homes you've seen recently.
Well, there's a lot of that going around. I mean, our two priorities is people not eating or sleeping on floors. So, and I've seen that. Walked into homes where people are literally sitting on the floor and they're eating off of a cardboard box as the table. So, that those are poignant scenes that you don't want to see too often. But that does happen, and we try to address the priorities, but everything's in need. So, it's a big fire.
Thanks so much to both of you for coming in and talking about furniture poverty.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Deb Huff is volunteer coordinator at Oyate Tipi Furniture Bank, and Gilbert Vielfaure is executive director at Centre Flavie.